5 legendary cameos in movies available on Now TV. Okay, Wayne's World 2. Like most Mike Myers movies, it's jam-packed full of celeb cameos. There's rock stars, former TV stars, and movie stars stuffed into bit parts and foreign accents.
I am Björgen Kjörgen.
Plus, a Hollywood legend gives Myers a lesson in overacting.
Thank you.
But don't be fooled, this movie isn't just about actors cashing in, it's also a love story, as Wayne fights to keep Tia Carrera from falling for the heartthrob that is Christopher Walken, which is harder than you'd think, because Wayne needs to put on a mega rock concert to impress her. At least that's what Jim Morrison and Sammy Davis Jr. suggest, which is odd, because neither of them were alive when this movie was made.
I'm really confused.
Keep the faith, my friend.
Garth also finds himself in a predicament of the heart as a cougarish, kinda crazy Kim Basinger pursues him.
I'm gonna be frank.
Can I still be Garth?
I'm not sure if a movie can make a cameo or if that's just called a ripoff, but part of what makes Wayne's World 2 awesome is the spoof scenes from movies like The Graduate, Thelma and Louise, and Jurassic Park. Speaking of spoofs, here's Dodgeball, which is basically a spoof of every sports movie ever made, except they play dodgeball instead of a sport. There's the really tall underdog, the little evil nemesis, and a tough but heartfelt coach, plus Justin Long. There's a bunch of cameos from veteran cameoists like William Shatner, Chuck Norris, The Hoff, Gary Cole, plus Jason Bateman gives some bang-on Bateman-ness.
Usually you pay double for that kind of action.
But the best cameo is definitely from Lance Armstrong, who gives Vince some pretty ironic advice.
I'm sure this decision won't haunt you forever.
Exactly. And here's another sporting legend in Eurotrip, where Vinnie Jones is in no way typecast as a thug. This movie seems like the sequel to Road Trip because of the name, but it's not. It's about this guy who gets dumped by that girl from that show and then drags his 3 friends and Buffy's sister to Europe to visit his hot German pen pal.
How are we going to get to Germany?
Apparently, you just show up at the airport and become a courier. This movie is full of cultural lessons, like the English really love beer, Italians are kinda grabby, Amsterdam is pretty depraved, and in Bratislava, which is totally a real place, $2 gets you all this and a bottle of this, which you know they're totally gonna regret. But amongst all this debauchery is an unforgettable cameo by none other than Matt Damon. Plus Xena turns up and sounds like this.
Bring on the Flugelkampfheimler!
Which I think is supposed to be Dutch, as is this guy in Austin Powers Goldmember.
Welcome to 1975, Austin Powers and Baja.
At first you think this whole cast has been upgraded to a bunch of A-listers, but don't worry, the same stars are back. Plus Beyonce is a disco queen, and Michael Caine as Austin's dad, who apparently is too busy for father and son bonding.
Someone had some daddy issues.
Plus cameos from Spielberg, the Osbournes, Nathan Lane, Quincy Jones, the girl from the Bangles, the kid from the Wonder Years, Britney as a fembot, and Godzilla. The studio must have spent all their money on cameos, because Myers has to play a bunch of the characters, including Austin, Dr. Evil, the Scottish guy, and the Dutchman.
I am from Holland. Isn't that weird?
Plus sing, dance, and rap for the paycheck, which is still better than Marky Mark singing in Ted.
We move as one.
Still better than Katy Perry.
This movie is the highest-grossing R-rated movie in history, but because most of the violence happens to Seth MacFarlane, it doesn't seem so bad. Plus, he's a teddy.
Oh, come on. I do not sound that much like Peter Griffin.
And while Mark tries to decide between a childhood stuffed animal and Mila Kunis, we're treated to some great cameos from Family Guy, plus Ryan Reynolds, Tom Skerritt, Nora Jones, and Ted Danson. But the most iconic cameo in this movie is from Flash Gordon himself, Sam Jones.
Let's do some shots.
Which just proves that when you're a celeb in a bit part, you might have to put on a crazy accent, or a raunchy outfit, or a funny wig, or perhaps all 3. But you'll know you've reached true cameo hero status when all you have to do is turn up and be yourself. You can catch all 5 of these movies in the Killer Cameo collection available on Now TV.